Today we're going to talk about what is impermanent loss. Now, I'm going to explain this to you in a way. This isn't going to be a complex video where you're going to have to understand a lot of complex terminology. You're going to have to understand all the basic calculations to figure out exactly what's happening, the complex mathematical formulas of impermanent loss. We're not discussing any of that. This is the simplest explanation you're going to see so you finally understand what this is. We're going to demystify this entire process. It's going to be so simple for you to understand that my goal is that literally anyone who watches this video can walk away with a basic understanding of what's happening with impermanent loss. Now, this is incredibly important that you understand this because decentralized finance is here to stay. The Binance Smart Chain is exploding. There'll probably be other blockchains as well doing decentralized finance in a very big way outside of Ethereum. There's a tremendous amount of potential that could be earned on your crypto by investing in liquidity pools. But the one major risk that you're going to have in any liquidity pool is impermanent loss. To be able to navigate that risk, you have to first understand what is impermanent loss. So I'm going to explain it in this video. I'm going to talk to you about some potential risks. Now, nothing in this video is designed to be investment advice. I just want to inform you on exactly how this works and what's going on. Don't take this as investment advice, please. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you appreciate the fact that I'm trying to break this down in a way that is simple and easy to understand. Do me a favor. If you believe cryptocurrency is the future of technology, the future of finance, smash that like button and be sure to hit the subscribe button. Now, if I haven't earned your subscribe yet, hopefully by the end of this video, I will have earned your subscribe. All right, so let's get into this. Now I'm going to break this down with a simple explanation. Then I'm going to show you some examples. Now, impermanent loss is where you invest into a liquidity pool. And when you invest in a liquidity pool, you actually earn 0.3% fees basically for other investors. And I'll explain, I'll go over a liquidity pool in a minute. But impermanent loss is where you lose more than what you would have had you just held the cryptocurrencies on your own. In other words, if you would have just held on to them and not invested in a liquidity pool, then you would have actually had more money. And the reason this is important that you understand that, or you would have had more USD value. The reason it's important that you understand that is because impermanent loss, people always recognize it when the token values go down. But impermanent loss can happen when one of the token values goes up abruptly as well. So I'm going to explain that. So a liquidity pool is where you would invest cryptocurrency. Say you had a little bit of Ethereum, you had some USDC, and you're like, hey, I want to be able to earn a little return on that. I want to make 10%, 20% a year, 16% a year. You see it on websites. You're like, how do I earn that on my crypto? Right now, my Ethereum and my USDC, I'm not really earning anything with it. Well, one of your options is you can invest in liquidity pools. So let's just say you had $1,000 worth of Ethereum, you had $1,000 worth of USDC. Most often you have to come in with 50-50 equal amounts. So you'd come in with $2,000 worth of your crypto, 1,000 of each token. And what this liquidity pool does, and you can invest in liquidity pools on Uniswap and PancakeSwap on the Binance Smart Chain. You can invest over there. And what those pools will do is it will serve as a place on a decentralized exchange. When someone's got Ethereum, they want to sell their Ethereum and they want to sell it for, say they got $100 worth of Ethereum, they want to sell that Ethereum for $100 worth of USDC, and they don't know anyone who's selling USDC, so it's not very efficient or effective to look for someone. You don't want to go ask all your buddies, hey, can you sell me $100 worth of USDC? That's not going to work. But you can go to Uniswap or PancakeSwap or any of these decentralized exchanges, and you can trade with the liquidity pool, and you can pay 0.3% super low fee for that privilege. So you come over here, you're like, oh, I want to, somebody says, oh, I want to sell $100 worth of Ethereum and I want to get $100 worth of USDC. So they're going to sell the Ethereum in the liquidity pool. They're going to pull out USDC. Notice what happens. They leave in Ethereum, they pull out USDC. Someone else comes along and they say, I would like to sell $100 worth of my USDC, and I'd like to pull out Ethereum. So they sell $100 worth of Ethereum. Which means they leave behind $100 worth of USDC in the liquidity pool. They pull out $100 worth of Ethereum out of the liquidity pool, and these liquidity pools just sit there, and people sell to them and pull out and sell and buy, sell and buy, sell and buy. And as long as they keep doing that, fees are earned over and over again, 0.3%, 0.3%, 0.3%. And over time, it can add up quite a bit. What's really interesting about that is your amount in the liquidity pool many times can grow because they're leaving behind, Ethereum, they're leaving behind that USDC plus the fee. Now, if impermanent loss occurs when, let's just say in this case, Ethereum was to take a dive, Like just all of a sudden the price just dropped. So keep in mind what was happening. When someone is selling Ethereum, they have to sell it to the liquidity pool and they have to pull out USDC. So if you're not in the liquidity pool and you're holding $1,000 worth of Ethereum and $1,000 worth of USDC, your $1,000 worth of USDC is going to stay $1,000. But your $1,000 of Ethereum, let's just say the Ethereum price all of a sudden just drops and now you only have $200 worth of Ethereum. Well, you have $200 worth of Ethereum, you have $1,000 worth of USDC. And if that happens suddenly in a few big trades, what could happen if you're in the liquidity pool is, keep in mind, they leave Ethereum in order to sell. If I want to sell Ethereum, I have to leave Ethereum in the liquidity pool and I have to pull out USDC. So just because you start out with a 50-50 allocation to the liquidity pool, it doesn't stay there. What ends up happening is something more like this. Your share of the total pool ends up being much more Ethereum. Except the problem is Ethereum's price has dropped drastically. So had you not put your Ethereum or your USDC into the liquidity mining pool, into the liquidity pool, what would have happened is you'd have still had $1,000 of USDC. But now what's happened is you don't have that $1,000 anymore. You have a larger percentage, say 70% or 80% of your holdings is now in Ethereum, and the Ethereum is at a lower price than when you put it in. So you have less, this is impermanent loss. You have less than what you would have had you just held Ethereum and have you held USDC. Now, one of the reasons they call it impermanent loss is because as long as Ethereum price eventually goes back up, it's not permanent. Meaning, if Ethereum price eventually went back up to where it was at when you first started your investment into the liquidity mining pool, that would mean that someone's going to have to start pulling out Ethereum, leaving behind USDC, and you end up back in a situation where it's closer to 50-50, plus you've earned all those fees. See, here you were still earning fees, but the fees were not enough to offset the growing percentage of Ethereum that you had in your share that was at a much lower cost, a much lower value. So, but when the price goes back up, now you have that you're back at 50-50. You've earned that 0.3% fee on the way down. You've earned 0.3% fee on the way up. You actually have made a profit. Now, what's interesting is this whole scenario, impermanent loss can occur if Ethereum skyrockets. So if Ethereum takes off in price, just blows up, what can happen is, keep in mind, in order for people to buy Ethereum from the liquidity pool, they have to pull it out. They're buying Ethereum, they're buying Ethereum, they're buying Ethereum. And when they do that, they're leaving behind USDC. Now, Ethereum's going up in value. Let's just say the value doubles. Keep in mind, in the beginning, you had 50-50, but they had to pull out Ethereum to sell USDC. So now maybe you only have 20% or 25% of that Ethereum. The price of Ethereum doubled, but it's only 25% of your holdings. You've got 75%, is just the $1 stable coin. So you made in this example, you've earned more than when you started. You got the fees, but the most expensive or the best part of your investment was that 50% of Ethereum, and you have less Ethereum in the liquidity pool because people were pulling the Ethereum out. That's why the price was going up, because they were buying it and selling. They were selling USDC, buying Ethereum, leaving behind USDC. Keep in mind, the transaction is I have Ethereum, I want to buy it. So, I have USDC, I want to buy Ethereum. So I deposit $100 worth of USDC, and from the liquidity pool, I get $100 worth of Ethereum minus 0.3%. And if that keeps happening over and over again, they're leaving behind USDC, they're pulling out Ethereum. Again, Ethereum is going up in value. So in this example here, you have more, and I'm going to show you a real world example of this. You have more value here than you did right here because Ethereum went up. And basically, the cool thing about this is that I kind of like this because it's just a way of you kind of locking in some profits automatically. So you didn't maximize your profits. You would have been more profitable just to hold Ethereum right here, but you didn't know the price was going to skyrocket like that. So you still end up ahead overall than when you started at the 50-50 example. I'm hoping this makes sense to you. But you still don't have as much as you would have had you just held Ethereum, have you just held USDC. There's a tremendous amount of risk anytime you think one of the tokens could just skyrocket. I'm going to show you an example of this right now, of where I made an investment that one of the assets went up. I'm still way ahead, but I'm earning less than had I just held the asset. So take a look at this. Right here, Auto Farm. This is on the BS, and this isn't advice. I'm not encouraging you to get into Auto Farm, but I love Auto Farm. And I'm over here farming the BNB, and the Auto Token liquidity pool. It says I get 557% APY. But the thing is, when this token was valued at about $6,000, $6,500, I had about $14,000, enough to buy 2 tokens. Right now, the token's at 8,600. I don't have enough to buy 2 tokens. So that's impermanent loss. Now, I'm okay with it because I know this thing's going to go up and down and I'm still going to be earning. So I'm totally okay with it. Plus, I'm earning rewards. I'll get to that in a minute. So a lot of times when a token is getting launched or released, the mining pools are going to be, the liquidity pools are going to be quite small. So what will happen is developers will give an incentive. They'll give additional tokens to help compensate for impermanent loss. That's what's happening right here. I'm getting about 1.573% on the value that I have in the liquidity pool to help offset some of these losses. I'm okay with that because this token can drop and my total value is not going to drop as substantial. So liquidity investing in liquidity pools can be sort of sometimes a way to mitigate losses, but you can still get crushed. If I'm fortunate right now, this would not matter if their token wasn't holding its value. If all of a sudden this token just tanked, then what that means is I'm going to be left with a bunch of worthless tokens. It means this would happen right here, except I would have a token that would be worthless, the auto token, if the price suddenly tanked. Now the prices went up, so I'm looking more at this scenario right here. And I'm okay with this scenario. You don't want this to happen. This is where you can lose big time. Anytime you see huge APY percent, you have to know that you're at far greater risk for impermanent loss. And it doesn't matter that they're allowing you to mine tokens. It's called liquidity mining when they allow you to mine tokens. It doesn't matter if they're allowing you to mine tokens if the token ends up worthless. So you have to believe in the project to be able to do this. You have to understand what you're doing. Now, I actually am very optimistic that this token may double or triple from here. And I could do a whole video on that, on why I think that's possible. Not financial advice. This is just what I believe. That means that my overall deposit is still going to go up. It's not going to go up as much as if I would have held this token, but I'm mitigating some of the risk of only holding this token. That's the key. And I'm able to earn I've been reinvesting a lot of these tokens right back in. I don't have to do that. You know, there's 1.5%. I'm getting 1.5% on $15,000. Pretty good. I could sell this to Bitcoin, to BNB. I could sell this to whatever I want. I've been reinvesting it, but I could do whatever I wanted right here with this. And that helps offset some of my risk. So you have to just understand what your risks are. Now, there are risks of outright scams, and there are risks of market manipulation that can happen. So some tokens, let's just say this was some brand new token right here, right? And let's just say this is like some sort of, we'll just call it XYZ token, some sort of new XYZ token. And this XYZ token is going to be the next greatest things the developer says, and it launches, and it's got like 10,000% APY. I was in one the other day, I had 200,000% APY. I made a couple $100 and I pulled out of it. I thought that's just stupid. But let's just say that you're in this thing and it's like, oh, this is going to be awesome. This is going to, go to the moon, etc. And they offer you, provide liquidity and then earn some extra XYZ tokens too. That's what I'm doing over here on the auto farm, right? I'm providing liquidity to the liquidity pool for auto, and then I'm earning extra auto tokens for doing that because I know I'm at risk for impermanent loss. But watch this. All of a sudden, the dev could, on this XYZ token, if it's a bad dev, they have something called a mentor function, and they mint themselves a whole bunch of extra tokens, and then they dump them into the liquidity pool. And when they do that, you end up over here, and you got this big old scam token, XYZ token. You're left holding the bag. You got like 95% of your original stake is in this, scam token called XYZ. And it's worthless, and you're just screwed financially. That sucks. That absolutely sucks. And that's possible, and that's been done. The other thing that can happen is it doesn't have to be a bad dev. I mean, it can be a good dev. There could be, say there's a flaw in the smart contract and someone drains the smart contract. Now they got tokens that they're going to dump on the open market, and it was not even a dev. Somebody else did it. So you got to make certain contracts are audited. I don't personally care if devs are anonymous or not. I do like for there to be an audit for the contract. I like the fact that the developer team had a track record, but you've got to take your own risk. You got to understand the risk you're taking. So these big rewards don't occur without risk. I mean, I can't say that enough, ladies and gentlemen. But this has been impermanent loss. And let me just say this. Also, something else can happen. Maybe it's not a bad dev. Maybe the contract is good. But a competitor comes along, and all of a sudden the competitor, it's a new project. You're all excited, but there's a competitor that comes out and they said, hey, this token's not as good because this function isn't as efficient as our function or whatever. Our token's better than XYZ token. So XYZ token was the first of its kind. Everybody's excited. But the second iteration of XYZ, somebody else comes along and comes out with their own token. They call it XXZ token. And the XXZ token's better. And all of a sudden, everybody leaves this. Everybody dumps their tokens. Same thing. The value goes down. You're stuck holding the bag of a bunch of worthless tokens. That is the risk. That is impermanent loss. Even in that case where if you would have just held on to 50% and 50%, you would have lost half your investment, but half of it would have maintained the value of the USDC. So impermanent loss is any time that you earn less, meaning the fees that you earned from providing liquidity did not offset the losses, and that you would have earned more just by holding the tokens. Now, if you're in a stable project, and you look at it like a lot of the Uniswap stuff, the Ethereum, BTC, and Ethereum and DAI, and Ethereum and USDC, those sort of pools, you'll see that they earn like 16% a year, 12% a year, 13% a year, 21% a year sometimes. And those are legitimate returns. And as long as those token values stay relatively stable in correlation to each other, which they typically do, you're going to earn some great profit that you couldn't earn anywhere else. That's why people like to invest in liquidity pools. When you combine the earnings of liquidity pool with liquidity mining on a good project, a good token, like I personally think Auto is, then in that case, it can be even more lucrative. But you just have to be careful for impermanent loss. You have to be careful to make certain you don't become getting in too early on a project. There can be things, market conditions that you can't predict. There can be bad devs. There can be flaws in contracts. So you have to be careful. When that happens, you're going to see major moves in the token downward side. That's the most dangerous side. And you're going to have massive, massive impermanent loss. Listen, if you watch my videos, there's a lot of things I get excited about. There's a lot of things I talk about. I want you to know what's going on, but I want you to be careful, and I want you to protect yourself. Please protect yourself. We're not in this thing to try to lose money. We want to be a part of, early. We want to be early in great technologies and great projects, but you have to be very careful. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. And ladies and gentlemen, hopefully I've done enough to be able to earn your subscribe. So please do me a favor, smash that subscribe button. I got something else for you. One more surprise. So I just recently in crypto, this is the only place I know of, I just got over $3,000, in fact, just over $3,500 of free tokens that were airdropped to me. I'm going to give you all the details. I'm going to talk about how to claim those tokens in a moment. You might have gotten them too and you don't even know it. And it's just free. Like if you're not familiar with these airdrops, some of these airdrops are insane. They're just totally free. Some of them you get a free $2, $3. Sometimes it's hundreds of dollars. The Uniswap token, when I got that one, I think it was $1,200 totally for free. I just got $3,500. It was crazy. There's 2 airdrops coming up. I'm going to make certain that you know about it as one of my viewers and one of my subscribers. So I've got a couple of videos coming up in the next today and tomorrow. So you want to make certain that you hit the subscribe button, click the bell notification icon, and click all. If there's a chance that I can help you get some free tokens and free cryptocurrency, I'm going to do my best to help you do that. Thank you so much for watching. Ladies and gentlemen, decentralized cryptocurrency equals freedom. This is Crypto Wealth. I'm out.